Hey everybody, BeyondDrewTV here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our second episode of Take Two Podcast. And with me today, as always, is my co-host there, Mr. S. Dan Wolf. What's up, bud?
You all know me? Know what I do for a living? I had to hit you up with a little bit of Quint.
had to. So, but yeah, I guess just in case, because this is the first episode on my channel. For those of you that may not know S. Dan Wolf here, why don't you go ahead and give yourself a short, quick introduction there?
Yeah, guys, you can find me nerding out mainly on YouTube. Drew is trying to get me into some Twitch streaming. I'm kind of worried. I still kind of worry about like getting swatted or like one of you guys showing up at my house. So I don't typically live stream very often. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. Just search S. Dan Wolf Planet Coaster or creepy S. Dan Wolf guy Planet Coaster, and I'll pop up on there somewhere. So. Yeah.
The creepy S. Dan Wolf results are my favorite. Those are definitely my favorite. So today is the 16th of April, which was it today or yesterday? One of the 2 days was the official release date of the Classic Rides Collection DLC pack pack.
Yes.
The Magnificent Rides 2 pack, basically. So, but yeah, no, it came out, and for those of you that haven't seen, our boy here, S-Dan, has a great overview video of the entire pack there, which you actually, you old sly dog, you got early access to the pack before many of us. So
I am one of the favorite children, Shantae and Bo and Stegs. They absolutely love me, and they sent me a cheeky little email late Friday, and they even said, I know this is, kind of late, but would you like to get your hands on the pack and, just try it out, see if you can make a video for Monday? And I'm like, well, maybe if I have time, I'm kind of busy, but no, I was like, really, what kind of question is that? I'm like, yes, send it to me right now. And right. So they sent me one of the pre-release builds, and so I got to mess around with it a little over the weekend. And you guys, if a lot of you guys listening, you probably know I was a little salty earlier in the week, even with Drew. I was like, man, this is not the pack for me. There's absolutely no scenery. These rides that I'm hearing about are kind of creeping me out, but. Once I actually got in there and started messing with it, and I know, Drew, it was killing me because when they give you these, you're not allowed to say anything to anybody. Like, it right. is totally under, you're under an NDA. You can't discuss the email. You can't discuss anything. No screenshots, nothing. And I was so salty about it on Monday. And, then I got my hands on it all weekend. I was like, man, this is actually pretty cool. I was being pretty douchey at the beginning of the week. So, especially when I saw the gondolas, like, I almost fell out of my chair.
I bet.
But yeah, I don't, and Drew, I didn't want you to think either, like, oh yeah, of course they give him the DLC free, now he's okay with it. Like, I was, I didn't know until Friday. Like, I was, once you even remember, I was even telling you, like, once they got to Wednesday, I was like, Drew, this is starting to come around a little bit. Like, let's just chill and see what they've got. Like, I was saying that, you can vouch for me. Wednesday, Thursday, yep. I had started to come around, like, and then Friday when they said, do you want to try it? I was like, yeah, man, let's get it on. Let's see what you all have. And so I personally pleasantly surprised. I was wrong at the beginning of the week. I definitely was not looking at big picture. I was salty for no scenery, no theming. But yeah, I mean, just I was kind of wondering, like, how did your week evolve from Monday to Monday, essentially, Drew? Like, did you kind of follow me with as the week went on, you were kind of like, okay, let's give them a shot.
Yeah, that pretty much is where I was at. Yeah, like I said, that first day that they released the Sky Temple, or the, I think it's Pagode is the most well-known one over and at Eifling, which I'm always reminded by my European friends how poorly I pronounce that. And I remind them, I'm from the United States, so I pronounce it perfectly all the time. But yeah, after that ride came out, I was like, it's cool, but like, I'm never, ever gonna use it ever.
That's exactly what I said to you. I'm like,
yeah, we were both like,
never,
it's
I'm
cool.
like, yeah, you're like, I will click on this once and never touch it again.
Yeah, pretty much for like a review video to look, hey, look at this, everyone. Okay, put that back in the ride folder of never using again. So, and then the second day came out, and it was the spinning coaster, correct?
I believe so. And everybody got really time traveler hyped.
Yes, only to find out it wasn't time traveler because we just jumped the gun on that. But yeah, so I mean, after that, I started to warm up to it because even though it wasn't an extreme spinning coaster like Time Traveler, it was still a really cool coaster that personally I was kind of always wanting. It was kind of one of those that was like, if we got it, cool. If we didn't, whatever. And then finally, by the day that we got the paratrooper, I think, and then people were starting to leak seeing the whip ride as well in the Sky Temple
really
pictures.
Gained momentum at that pick. Yep.
It was, yeah. I mean, we've mentioned them a lot before, and we will continue to because we hang out there a lot. But on the Bro Nation Discord, we kind of, I think maybe you do the same, S-Stan, and probably on a few other Discords, but we kind of gauge how the community is feeling, because we're kind of hang out, like if this was high school, like S-Stan and myself, we would hang out with every single clique in the Planet Coaster high school cafeteria. That's kind of
how I was in high school too.
Me too, yeah.
I kind of just mingled with everybody.
Just
I didn't
floated
have like
around.
a set clique. And the Bro Nation guys, like if you talk about some detailed coaster nerds, theme park nerds.
Oh yeah,
sometimes it gets the best of them. Sometimes they get so riled up, but they're so passionate. And like, if the Bro Nation people are cool with something, you've got a hit. If they're, if the Bro Nation guys are like, this sucks, this isn't, this is not what we want, that they've kind of missed the mark, I'd say.
Right, this accepting different build. If you're posting stuff on the Bro Nation, it's for a very specific reason, just because they focus mainly on the realism of every aspect of like a build. Fantasy can stay away for the most part. So
they're not too much into fantasy over there, typically.
But again, that's just because that's what kind of, builds that they're into. But then on the flip side, if you go over to someone, let's just say like Daily Designer or even Red Dragon or one of theirs, that's kind of a more either very fantasy focused and or just looser on the realism focus, I guess you would say. So and I love those kind of builds and respect those kind of builds as well, even though I primarily build, I guess, in the realistic or whatever kind of method. I still love to see those amazing fantasy kind of builds, because I'm just like, I would never have thought to do that. So
right. And too, Drew, I was thinking, one thing we left out about the first part of this conversation. Remember, though, the very first thing that they showed us was Copperhead Strike as part of the free update. And remember, we were like losing our minds on Monday. Like, we thought that, oh my gosh, if this is what's to come. And then the reality of no new theming hit us, remember?
Right.
Then we kind of like, it killed the Copperhead Strike momentum for me. I was like, oh wait, man, they just said no,
I agree,
because
it was so cool to see those that recreation looked like it was spot on. The trains coming were awesome. For those of you that didn't get the the Magnificent Rides pack, you were going to get the mock coaster in the game for free now, instead of having to pay for the Magnificent Rides. Yep. And then the Sky Temple came, and everyone was like, it was either one or the other. You were either cool, really excited, or Okay.
I mean, all of our little Dutch friends, they were losing their freaking minds. Like, they're like,
yeah, they
oh my
loved it.
God, it's the Sky Temple. And we're just kind of like, okay.
Well, and this was there was a few storylines. It's kind of, because for those of you that maybe didn't keep up, all week I was keeping up every single day. I'd wake up early to kind of do a quick 3 to 6 minute just overview video of what we saw in the like 10 to 11 second clips that Planet Coaster would post that morning. And it was really exciting. It reminded me of Alpha Days, like, a lot. And I think they've done this with a few other packs, but I love it when they reveal packs like this.
So much information coming. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, it's great. But you get these storylines throughout the week, and the first one was definitely, does Frontier know the definition of the word classic? And that was like for the first probably 2 or 3 days, people were, because it went in order, because maybe we'll nail that down real quick as well, what rides came out in what order kind of thing. In order, we had the Copperhead Strike, the Sky Temple,
right,
and then the oh shoot, I forget already. Was it the Free Flyer then, the Paratroopers?
No, remember, I think it was the Interdimensional. Remember?
Yeah, sorry, the Interdimensional, the Spinning Coaster.
Let's see.
And then I think it was the Free Flyer.
I think it was the Free Flyer that got everybody kind of back on board a little bit.
Right. And then we did the Machina Classica.
Right. That was interesting. Really quick.
That was the second
across the screen. Yeah.
That was the second big storyline from the week. It seemed like.
But yeah, I think one thing that you and I had a real interesting consensus on, the layout of the timing and the order that they picked. Really weird to us. Seemed off. It seemed like a lot of. They started off so slow, like they really had to catch up at the end of the week, and maybe that was their intention. But go ahead, Drew.
Sorry, I didn't mean to keep cutting you off. It's because we literally had this conversation right beforehand about how, you and Daylady Designer and John, the few of you got early access, and up until y'all's video that came out the day before the release, right? That we had only seen, or how am I trying to word this? They basically left your guys' videos to reveal probably the meat and potatoes of the pack, where they should have reversed that kind of thing,
right?
And shown off the real good stuff.
Like, for me personally, it was cool, like the way, because I sat there all weekend. Like, once I got my hands on the pack, I was like, oh my God, there's gondolas. Like, surely that's gonna be like a Saturday reveal. And then Saturday came and nothing. And then Sunday came and it was the Armada came on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, that's, I immediately knew once that Armada came out, and then it got 7, 8 o'clock at night, our time, and 4 o'clock in the morning over there, I knew, I'm like, okay, the gondola is going in my screenshot. I mean, the gondola is going in my thumbnail, because they never showed it. And you remember,
it was the gondola.
Yeah.
The Rising Raptor as
Infinity.
well.
Remember, everybody went crazy over the recreating the Smiler.
Right. They've been asking for that coaster for ever. So it was like the last 3 things were probably the biggest things of the pack.
Right.
That they didn't show off in a cinematic 10-second video, teaser trailer.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, I'm like, could you imagine if the gondola would have made a Saturday appearance?
Oh, I'm sure the pack is hyped. Well, kinda. We can still talk about that with the storylines throughout the week, but I think they missed an opportunity to get this pack in hype overdrive, basically.
I think you're right. I think that leaving it to the 5 or 6 of us to show it at the very end, it really didn't do these rides justice. Like, you know, like even me, I tried to put together like a little park, like just a little scenario type thing to you know, show off the rides and all that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, I mean, it's just me. I've got like 3,000 subscribers. You know, I don't have the reach of like of the Planet Coaster social channels could have played that, you know. And
you know, it'd be cool if they did, and this is just, I just spitballing right now, is if they invited, like let's say they did a week again of reveals. They invited 7 creators, and each day that creator like featured the gondolas, and they built like a little scene with the gondolas, and then Planet Coaster, like, you know, I don't know, they filmed like a 30-second little montage thing and sent it to Planet Coaster. Then Planet Coaster put it on their page or something, and then someone did the interdimensional, and someone did the art. You know, each person gets one ride, and they kind of build like a little scene with it or something, and that's a way to showcase the ride and the creator, without doing this, where they just kind of are like, here's codes, now everyone just do a review video on the same day at the same time, go. You know?
But you know, one thing too that we have to give them credit on nowadays, Drew, no more just picture reviews. Like, no more just one picture for the week, here you go. Now, like, they're adding in the videos and like the GIF linked, you know, little snippets. It really, like I'm telling you, and I used to tell them this on the social channels and stuff, I'd be like, guys, one screenshot doesn't get people hyped every 3 days. We need videos. We need like, and remember, they were saving the videos for like the full-on release trailers. And I'm like, just tease a little bit of this stuff. Let us see the new rides and stuff in action. So one thing, like, I think they've really done well lately, like within the last 9 months, is getting these little videos together, because you know what we say, you know, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth, you know, 1,000,000. And that is something real cool that they've kind of turned the corner on with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it gives, you know, I mean, it gave me every single day during the week, you know, an opportunity to, again, release about a 5 to 6 minute video talking about 11-second clip, because everyone was hyped on it.
Yeah, it helps the content creators so much than trying to cover a screenshot for the whole week. Or, you know, like that, you can only make so many videos out of a screenshot. And, you know, I mean, we're just talking from the content creator side, because that's what we are. I mean, I'm sure that that's not a big priority on everybody's list, you know, even people listening to this right now. But as far as us goes, and like, you know, the advertising that we give them and pushing this stuff out to our communities, it helps so much when they do it like they did this last time, and drip feed out this information once a day. Well, like you said, man, it literally got you a video every single day last week, 10, 12, 13-minute videos every day on 11-second clips. So
It's like, thank you. And by the way, welcome to all the new people that found my channel because of last week's stuff. So hi.
And, you know, you were talking like I had to go radio silence from like Friday to Monday. I knew you guys were probably wondering what was going on.
I just figured, like, you had mentioned we were going to try and record like last week, and you had mentioned you were busy at work. So I just always assume that you're just busy at work when I don't hear from you for a few days. Like, well, he just got busy at the worst time.
That part was true, but you were probably wondering, like, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Like, Drew and I talked like almost every day, like on Discord.
At least a message or two.
Yeah, we're discussing something's happened. But Drew literally didn't hear from me from like Thursday to Monday.
Yeah, I remember as soon as I posted
that video, you sent me a message. You're like, "You dog." I knew there was a reason you were quiet.
Like, I knew something was up, man, but you know. Yep, I did. First thing I looked at, I got a notification on my phone. Said S. Wolf has uploaded a new YouTube video, classic ride pack or collection review, and I was like, "You son of a!" I do right away.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was so funny though.
I was up to something.
But I think we kind of went over all the rides. Well, at least talked about a lot of the stuff there. If you want, I wanted to move on to, there's another part of this pack that a lot of people aren't really, well, some people are talking about, but that's kind of some under the hood tweaks there to Planet Coaster for the better.
Yes, we've Drew and I have been getting messages and have noticed on Twitter today that a lot of people are seeing massive improvements in their menu loading options, from building to editing to scenery to switching to foliage to back to TMTK items. I was mentioning to you, Drew, like they have definitely messed with something. Like something has happened.
Yeah, they cracked a code or something. Before we go on, I'll read right from the patch notes here, and it says performance improvements. Bullet 1. Improved loading times for Cobra Screen and loading parks. Can confirm that from loading into between 3 different parks at 3 different sizes today. Can definitely confirm that that has increased. Bullet 2, improved performance for parks with very long occupied queues. That's an interesting one because I rarely, if ever, play with guests. So comment below. Let me know if you have a park that has a lot of guests in it, or have you seen improved performance with the lines being occupied. And the last bullet is general stability fixes and improvements, which again I can definitely vouch for, especially holy cow, it's like night and day. My building, scenery, and theme makers toolkit tabs like instantaneously load up now. It's ridiculous.
Yep, I was in the safari park just a little bit ago, and we were talking like when I would click on the building or the edit tabs pre 1.11, probably talking like 8 or 9 seconds sometimes. Now I'm down to like a second or 2. So you might not think like that sounds like much, but when you're building in the game, God, that is like you wouldn't believe how quickly.
Well, you're switching back between the scenery tab and the building tab all the time.
Right.
Like all the time.
All the time. You're switching back and forth like, oh, wait, Windows, I got to go back to building. Or, oh, wait a minute. I need a,
I need a log.
Yeah, we got to go back to scenery. And like when you're talking about 8 or 9, 10 seconds, it drains you. Yeah, you don't want to play. Yeah, it kills the vibe. You're just like, I don't even want to go into that park anymore.
Right. Yep. So glad they tackled that. And that does mean I still get questions about this on my live streams a lot of times, or even on some YouTube videos. People asking like, oh, is the Theme Maker's Toolkit still bugged, or have they fixed that yet? Which A, leads me to believe that a lot of people don't know about the quality of life fix that happened about a month ago. And B, today they shows that they're still working on it. And, we mentioned this in our last podcast, or the first podcast we did, that every single update they do, they will always have stability and general fixes, and that usually means the toolkit now. They are very, very aware of the issues that the toolkit has, and I will repeat this every single podcast if I have to, because I always see comments that refer to this. But yes, they are aware it's broken or not working well, and no, they don't want to keep it like that, so they will continue to make it better. I can assure you that. So
yep, and as I'm still seeing some people, actually, quite a few people are saying like the TMTKs, like we were saying, broken. I can't download. I'm not downloading any TMTK pieces until they get it fixed. But Drew, man, like I'm running on like ever since they put it out, like I'm not understanding a lot of these issues that people are saying. Like I run a whole series on TMTK items, and even before, like the one thing I will give people, the loading screen time, yeah, that was an absolute mess. but that is totally fixed now. The TMTK loading string, like the menu is absolutely instantaneous now.
Now it is, definitely.
But before, I'll give it to those people, it was a mess. Like, it would hang on you for a good 30, 40 seconds sometimes. But that's not an issue anymore.
Where a lot of people's issues come with it, and I fully understand, is how do I word this? I've learned a lot about it in the last few weeks, and I always used to harp on file sizes, right? And I've learned that that's not all that goes into deciding if a TMTK model is good or not. When I say good, I don't mean like how good it looks. I mean how good is it optimized for the game. And a lot of people's issues and why they are hesitant with it is that we've talked about them many times, but we have a good dedicated, let's say a good handful of reliable known builders that do their best to optimize their pieces the best they can. However, that still leaves, a good amount of modelers out there who will upload things but not, optimize well. So then you're stuck with all these items where, let's say 85% of them are made by really good modelers, but then that extra 15 or 20% or whatever is bad, and it's going to bog your game down. And a lot of issues comes where people a lot of modelers won't put what quality and what details they've put into their models, so people don't know if they're good or not, basically, just by looking at them.
Correct.
So it's almost like a safe to just not do it, basically, kind of.
And I always go back to the modelers not being able to create just one download for everything. And I know people say they can. They got to go in the Steam Workshop and you can create your own pack. You can take. But what I'm talking about is just regular people going to the Steam Workshop and they click on Theme Maker's Toolkit item, and say you like my guy Leaf Scott, who's making an awesome set for Batu, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yeah, it clogs the pages, but that's what he has to do.
Like I said, he's making awesome stuff, but to go through all of his, he might take up 2 or 3 pages of the workshop. And what I'm saying is, let that guy make a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge pack, just one little icon, and it breaks down okay, this is going to have 30 wall pieces in it and 10 window pieces, and let people just see that one. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying I wish, as far as the Steam Workshop goes and how this stuff works, they didn't have to make 40 individual little downloads. That's what I mean, Drew. When I'm saying this, give me one little Star Wars Galaxy's Edge theme icon from Leaf Scott and let me click it and it downloads all of them. But, let new people do that too that might not know anything about grouping or, the creator having to go in and do that. That's all I'm saying. In my RCT3 days, if Station Jim Jr. or N7, Mike from Bro Nation put out a foliage pack, it was one little click. I could download his whole tree pack. I wouldn't have to go in and download 30 individual trees like I do now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's a big turnoff, especially for newer people to this kind of stuff. I think that's a big thing is you see with the Planet Coaster community is that I know this is going to sound obvious, but the RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 and Planet Coaster community, while similar, are not the same at all. There's a lot of new theme park simulation gamers, I'm pretty sure, joining this, and a lot of them don't know anything about the theme or UGC, we had to deal with, or not deal with, but we had back in the day.
Yeah,
and stuff.
They don't know about the CS Depot and the hunting for
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
so a lot of this stuff is brand. The Theme Maker's Toolkit is brand new to them. It's just it's good just to keep giving more and more information basically about this stuff, because I know a lot of people probably have questions. And but basically what I was getting at it is that the way that it's set up now is really just anti like downloading all this stuff. I don't know how to word it.
It's clogged.
Makes it difficult.
It's convoluted. Like, how cool would it be, Drew? Like I said, if like, okay, I downloaded Leaf Scott's Star Wars pack, and then actually in the TMTK menu, instead of seeing all 40 of those wall pieces, it had its own sub menu. Like, okay,
exactly.
Like it translates over to the in-game menu, and I see Leaf Scott's little Star Wars icon, and if I want to go into his walls, I click on that, then it populates everything.
Right.
But the way that
so much better.
Yeah, the way they have it set up now, when I click on my Theme Maker Toolkit menu, I'm literally looking at 180 separate pieces. Like, it's just, I guess I could like favorite stuff and name stuff separately, but
that's so anti-user friendly.
Yeah,
though.
it's just it's weird the way that part of it is set up. So I mean, I don't
know. Part of me just still feels that it's, I don't know. I go back and forth because I don't know how much longer they're going to support Planet Coaster OG basically, but I still feel like the Theme Maker's Toolkit can be evolved upon by Frontier, and I still feel it's like in its alpha or beta days or whatever you want to call it, its early stages.
Right.
And I don't know if they're going to wait till Planco 2 to kind of evolve it or make it better basically, but I don't know, because again, for me, I feel like they're only going to support Planco 1 here for about another, it's April, so maybe only another 9 or 10 months or something, or not 9 or 10, 8 or 9 months or something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. And I get hit up every time in one of my videos, like when like these last 2 times, I think I've been really disappointed with no themes. And I always have like 8 people in the video say, I don't know why, dude, why do you still want Frontier themes? That's literally what the Theme Maker's Toolkit is.
Oh, yeah.
Theme Maker Toolkit. And I'm like, how many videos do I have to tell you? Do I have to repeat this? That is not like the condition that the Theme Maker's Toolkit is in right now is not a substitute for what Frontier is still capable of. Like, you wouldn't believe how many people say, dude, they're not going to come out with any more themes. That's why they put out the Theme Maker's Toolkit. That is over. And I'm starting to think, Drew, I'm like, I wonder if these guys are right. Like, I'm fighting them over this every video. But, I mean, we've got 2 DLCs come out in a row now.
Well, that kind of goes back to, our, me and you or other people too hypothesizing, a few things. Well, first is how far in advance had Frontier planned their DLCs. I think it was up until maybe Vintage, and then that was the end of it. And then then Mag Rides 1 and 2, or Mag Rides 1 and the Classic Rides were the response DLCs because everyone wanted more rides basically.
Right.
So with that in mind,
we forced their hand on that.
Almost, yeah. So with that in mind, I'm betting that. Oh, excuse me, I'm drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, and it always makes me burp. With that in mind, they could have only been focusing on ride DLCs since the new year, basically. So who knows? Maybe now that they've fleshed out in the last 2 packs, we've gotten almost 20 rides or something like that between the 2 of them. Maybe now they can kind of spearhead and focus on these last few DLCs, assuming there's going to be more DLCs to finish out the year. But they can kind of transition into scenery ride DLCs to finish it out.
Too, in the last video, you had a really interesting point that I think could gain traction. And remember what you said, Drew. Do they not want to waste any more themes on the original Planet Coaster?
Right. Like, how long?
Yeah. Are these like the next set of themes that we're essentially waiting on? Are those assets being saved for Planet Coaster 2? Essentially is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it realistically like that. You know, how much, again, how much do they want to put into Planet Coaster 1? Because, I mean, obviously the DLCs make money. That's not an issue. That never will be an issue. But how much of this do they want to transfer to Planet Coaster 2? Or I had an interesting, I read an interesting discussion today. I think it was on Bro Nation. Instead of Planet Coaster 2, you know what we haven't gotten in Planet Coaster 1 is an expansion pack. Do you think they could just transition this from just hold off in Planet Coaster 1's engine? And because, I mean, they've shown time and time again that they can push the engine past what they initially say. They initially said we can't make tower rides adjustable. Well, now they can. They said we can't have glass in the game. Well, now we can. What's holding them back from having a splashed expansion pack with water and everything? Because now they can, you know, kind of thing.
I know, it's just, I think, I know you literally just said it, but I think that it is a limitation in issue with the original Planet Coaster framework.
I'm with you.
I think like it's something they want to tackle, but that's another thing that you and I talked about, Drew. Like, why, when this was in the early planning stages, why wasn't a soaked type of pack? Why was that not envisioned? Like in those meetings at Frontier, all the way over there in Cambridge, why wasn't there some little dude there or some girl? Why did they not stand up and say, oh, wait, guys, but don't you think people are going to want, we need to figure out water parks probably, because you guys remember how we had soaked with RCT3, like, so where do we stand on that? Hey, Chris, tell us where we stand on water parks with Planet Coaster. Or, like, how's that expansion pack going? And nobody said, like, even, like, how did nobody think of this? Like, or did they think of it and say, guys, like, was there a programmer that said, guys, y'all are going to have to kill it with the planet water park stuff?
That has to be what happened, because
we can't.
Like, I think you mentioned it last time. Like, I'm pretty sure you said it last time that literally that's them deciding to not make money because, like, they know. Trust me, y'all can repeat it as many times as you want to in Facebook comments on every single Planet Coaster post. They know that people want a water park DLC, and they've always known this.
I know,
and
they know people are waiting to throw hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. They're very aware. They're good at their jobs. But someone along the way, like Estan was saying at a very early meeting, had to just be like, yo, that's how they talk in business meetings. Yo, it's not happening. Someone just had to be like, listen, it's not going to happen, at least in this iteration of the game.
I mean, I could see like Johnny Watson them sitting there like, okay, where do we sit on, like, you know, pre-programming meetings, where do we sit on the water parks? And either it's Andrew Chappell or one of them says, guys, we can't do it. This is going to we don't have the technology for it yet. The engine is not where we need it to be yet. Can't do. I mean, because like we said, Drew, they know how many thousands of dollars they're leaving out there on the table. So I'm absolutely sure it is a framework programming issue. They can't make it work right now.
Right, and that's why, I mean, you even look at the brand new Armada that we got, and if you really look at it, I've looked at it a little bit, it looks like it's literally the Rapids ride that we've had in game since the early days. Mm-hmm. It literally looks like the same track, just with a guide rail thrown in it, and then the boats put on it. And I think that's, again, because they pushed the limitations that they could with water rides, with the log flume track, and the rolling rapids track, and then I guess the water coaster track, but I think that uses a lot of the same flume style that the Rapids ride. What I'm getting at is if you look at the water rides, they all revolve around pretty much 2 different variations of chutes and tubes. And I think that's about the extent that they could push it, because I think if I remember right, for water rides, they didn't plan on it was basically like a decision between, do you want log flumes and rapids rides, or like go-karts and something else that we eventually got later down the road. And they pushed out water rides like that, but I remember they were buggy as hell when they first came out.
And remember,
and they're still buggy.
Yeah, I mean, the water rides have given them more issues than anything they've tried. And yeah, remember we didn't even know if we'd get water rides because it went so long, and we're like, where are our log flumes? Where are like the Congo River rapids? Where are our water rides? And they found a way to make it work, but it was, like you said, even up until 1.10. Remember when our log flumes kind of flipped sideways and were killing people?
The scariest ride ever.
Yeah, that definitely gave them trouble. And like I said, I think you're kidding yourself if you think you'll see a water park DLC at this point. I don't think they can program it.
I would be the first to admit egg on my face for how long that I have not like complained, but just basically I feel like check people, just be like, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not. If it happens, if they announce tomorrow that they're actually going to pivot into doing expansion packs, and the first one is going to be a soaked expansion pack, I will be the first one to say I am wrong, and I am so glad that I am wrong. But I don't think I'm going to be wrong. So
nah, I don't think so. I think that's just that is a Planet Coaster 2 dream, I believe, or its own game. I mean, you never know, but that just...
Well, and that's, something interesting that I wanted to talk about. Do you think this is the way that, I guess it's not just Planet Coaster, but do you think this is the way that we're going as far as DLCs versus expansion packs? I know when I was a kid growing up, and you and I are about the same age there, but you had RollerCoaster Tycoon 2 came out, and then you had 3 awesome expansion packs would come out for it. RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 came out, and you had 2 or 3 awesome expansion packs that would come out for it. And I know that's kind of the nature of today with, having Steam and constantly being hooked up and having things downloaded into your game instantaneously. But do you think that's the route that Planet Coaster specifically will be going? And when I say Planet Coaster, I mean the entire Planet Coaster universe. So Planet Coaster 2, potentially 3, whatever. Do you think we'll just keep getting DLCs, or will we ever get those?
And you wouldn't believe how many like arguments I've gotten into with people on Reddit about the people that, obviously they say, well, expansion packs and DLCs are the same thing.
No, they're not.
Technically, but I mean, they're not to us. Like to
no.
me,
if you know what an expansion pack is,
those
are big.
Yeah, those are big, game-changing new worlds. Like that type of stuff. Like adding water parks to Planet Coaster would be an expansion pack. Classic rides. That's a DLC. That's not an expansion pack.
Maybe if you combine mag rides and classic together with like vintage scenery and maybe another scenery pack, like 2 scenery packs and 2 rides packs. So 4 packs together, 1 expansion pack for me.
Yeah, and like I said before too, expansion packs is like adding new lands and like saying, okay, you're going to be able to build zoos now. Here's Planet Safari. Like that's an expansion pack of Planet Coaster. And like I said, like me and you, we just grew up with expansion packs were big game-changing deals. Classic rides isn't necessarily game-changing. It's a little DLC.
It adds some more stuff, but not game changing, like you just said. So
yeah, not taking us to other worlds or biomes or totally new mechanics or management like a Planet Safari would or water parks. It's just,
well, maybe in future for Planet Coaster 2, I don't think for Planet Coaster 1 we'll ever see an expansion pack like that, but a modern game to compare it that I can think of, and we mentioned it last episode, is The Sims 4. Now, I know that this causes controversy. Disagree or agree with the way that EA does their expansions for The Sims. That's not what I'm here to discuss. What I am here to discuss is that they do release expansion packs, but they also release, stuff packs, game packs, your grandmother's uncle's packs, just all these different packs that are, so you have your expansion packs and they charge $40 for those suckers. And I can argue that Planet Coaster's DLCs offer more in their $12 or $10 DLC than The Sims do in their entire expansion packs most of the time. And then, under the expansion packs, you have I think it's stuff packs or game packs. Someone will let me know down below. And those are like our DLCs basically. And those are like $20. And then they have like 2 more tiers below that are like $10 and then $5, all with just stuff to add to the game. So the whole point I'm getting at is, could you see Planet Coaster doing something like that in the future?
I don't know. Like they work out these business models. They think they know their internal models, what works, what doesn't work. The way they've went with this, it seems like it's worked out pretty good with them. I don't know if they're a company that is like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they seem like they're pretty set in their ways, and I know we keep meaning to get to this, but we'll definitely have to get to this in episode 3. Maybe even bring Jonty on, because he even sent us a message. He's like, man, really cool podcast idea you guys have here. Do you guys care? Maybe I can jump on and chat it up with you.
And we'd love that.
Yeah, so I'm like, sure, dude. When you get moved to another continent, he's in Canada now. I'm like, jump on with us and we'll discuss this stuff with you. But what I was getting to is just what direction do they take as far as engines go and the next game cycles, and we don't know at this point. They're so secretive. We just
right.
Remember we were like, that's what I was gonna say. We need to get in the next episode. We need to really get into the meat and bones of that Unreal Engine talk that we heard from David Braben and Johnny Watts and David Walsh. Remember, Drew, I was telling you about that interview they gave talking about using Unreal Engine over Cobra in some of their upcoming games.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And I know we hinted at it in the first episode, and we're going to hint at it now again at the end of this episode. But we did, like Esteban mentioned, we did want to bring in our good friend Jonty from Geekism over to talk about this, because I know that he has some really, really good opinions on it. But yeah, we're gonna finally, next episode, we're gonna dive into that awesome interview that they had there, again about the Cobra engine, which is what Planet Coaster and Elite Dangerous and all Frontiers games run on right now, versus Unreal, right? Is what they're looking at.
Right. And another cool thing we wanted to pull out of Jonty, as far as getting his perspective on it, Drew. Remember, we were going to talk to him about niche influencers and how Planet Coaster, cultivates their relationships, compared to like other game companies he may have worked with. And, he's at like 50,000 subs. These game companies, they they basically throw themselves at him now. He can, get keys on command, and we're just really interesting to know, because remember, his story is really interesting as far as when Planet Coaster came out. Jonty had like 180 subs.
Yeah, he did it right.
And now he has 50,000.
Look at our little boy go.
Yeah, it's go. Like, he really can offer a neat perspective of, niche communities and how Planet Coaster does. And I really want to get his opinion on how he thinks they'll move with content creators going forward with the 4th franchise that we still don't know what it is, and Planet Coaster 2. And so let's remember to try to pick his brain on that when we have him on, really kind of maximize our time with him.
So, yeah, no, but like we said, definitely we'll go ahead and probably start wrapping up there. We've had a very information-filled episode here.
Yeah,
There's a lot that we went over.
We have definitely given you guys some good background listening here.
Yeah, hopefully. If you listen to any of it, cool. If not, that's fine too, as long as you hung out. So, but yeah, no, make sure you're subscribed here to my channel. Also, I'm going to be putting links all over for Stan's channel there, because it will be, actually the next video might be on Jonty's channel. We'll see. We got to work all that out though. But make sure you're subscribed to Stan here, because all the videos will go on his channel, then my channel, and vice versa, you name it. And yeah, be sure to hang out with us next time. I won't say next week. I almost said next week, but this is not weekly yet, so maybe one day. But make sure to hang out with us next time as we do bring on our good friend, good buddy, Jonty there, as we discuss all of the awesome things that we just discussed there. But anything else you want to talk about, man?
No, like I was telling you earlier, though, man, we have got to get our buddy Hard Punk Core on here. We just our time and his band schedule and practicing and his real life, my real life, your real life. Sometimes it just gets a little weird to sync 3 grown men up from dotted out over the country, and we've got to get our buddy on. I don't know if we, like you said, maybe with a Jonty episode, but there's definitely interest of people wanting to jump on with us. Jonty was just the first one that kind of reached out to me and said, hey, I'd love to come on and chat with you guys. But we've got Jonty, we've got Hard Punk Core, we've got Wow Man was talking about it, like he thought it would be interesting to maybe chat with us on one of these videos. So we think we're going to limit it to 3, because we don't want like 5-6 people on here kind of talking at the same time. It just kind of I think it would kind of overload us a little bit. But yeah, be on the lookout for some new people joining us. And so we definitely want to give a big shout out to Hard Punk Core. We didn't forget about you, buddy, but we didn't. It just
didn't work out this time again.
Yeah, Drew and I we found a dead night, and so we had to kind of jump at it with our schedules to record. So we definitely have some special guests coming up, and hopefully you guys will come back and join us for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, y'all, without further ado, and we will quit talking your ear off here, for the channel and for Take 2 podcast, I've been BeyondDrewTV.
Yep, and I'm Stan Wolf. Thank you guys for stopping by and hanging out with us.
Awesome, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.